Radio France. My name is Rebecca Monyei, and as always with me is the very handsome, very talented Cyprian Josson. Cyprian, tell the audience where you're located.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I'm Cyprian Josson, your host. I live in France, and I'm joined today by my good friend Rebecca Monyei, all the way from Houston, Texas, and that's the power of technology. 8,000 kilometers almost that separates us, and today we're going to review a movie, and unfortunately on my own side I have to be very, very honest, I watched only part one of the movie. So I think Rebecca will give us more about this movie, and then I'll give my opinion, my own review on this very movie. Rebecca, you can start.
Okay, so the name of the movie is Under Project. Under Project was directed by Nonso Emeka Ikwu and also produced by Nonso Emeka Ikwu, written by Dennis Abe Osoba. This movie was starring Franca Tus as Harry, Tonto Dike as Lizzie, Vivian Amegeshi as Lillian, Daniel K. Daniel as Dave, Jevivina Tamachloe as Chief Lewis, Vivian Anker as the chief's wife. So the synopsis of the movie is, which, by the way, the synopsis is really what got me to want to watch this movie. It says, Elizabeth's life seems perfect. She has a fiancé who loves her and her in-laws who accept her despite of her ugly past. Her aurora enchants the household of Chief Lewis, Gavivina Tamachloe, played by Gavivina Tamachloe, except Dave, played by Daniel K. Daniel, the houseboy. At first, Elizabeth thought she was dealing with an outright rude and amateur little boy. Little does she know that the love, care, and marital consummation she craves from her fiancé Harry, played by Franca Tus, is also being shared with an household boy. A race of great consequence is a race a woman runs, holding her breath, especially when it involves a sexual pervert. So that's the synopsis. I was like, ooh, what does that mean? I gotta see what this is about, okay? So I watched it, part 1, part 2, part 3, all 3. I didn't lose focus. The music was good. Okay, so let me just go down the checklist that I created. I created a little checklist here and there. Picture quality, I chose excellent. Sound, I chose good. Too much noise in a few road scenes. There were a couple of road scenes where I couldn't hear any of the characters speak. And I think they covered that up really well with background music. But I did see their facial expression, and I could tell that their car broke down and they couldn't move any further. But there was pretty much a lot of noise. They were by the highway, so the cars were running really fast. It was really loud. But I guess it wasn't bad. It didn't take away from the story, is what I'm trying to say. So location was fair. It was absolutely obvious that this movie was shot in one specific hotel room, and they were using maybe the manager's office, as one of the offices in the film. They used maybe a living room in a different house in another scene. It was just so obvious because they didn't change a lot of the things that may have covered that they were using the exact same location. For example, it was obvious that they were using the same location over and over because the curtains in the bedroom were exactly the same in a lot of the scenes that required them to be in a different location. The bed sheets, the bedspread, on one of the scenes, the car broke down, and this is the very first time Harry was gonna come into the houseboy's room, Dave's room, played by Daniel K. Daniel, and of course Harry was played by Franca Tus. And on that bed, it had a bed sheet with, I think, Dora the Explorer or some type of princess, Disney princess on the covers. And when they actually got home and he was gonna try again to seduce Dave, the same exact bed sheet was on the bed. I was like, I thought y'all was in the same place, for real? You know, like, that was so obvious. Anywho, so that definitely was one of the things that I knew that, you know, they only had that same location and they were using it over and over again. So the scene progression, you know, moving from one thing to another, it was good. It was easy to follow. The story from one thing to another. So it was pretty easy to follow the story from one thing to another. And then I also have the difference between night and day. It's fair. I could not tell what time of the day it was. In any of these scenes, it was either light or dark. You know, I couldn't tell if it was 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whether it was 10 a.m. or 10, you know, maybe 11 a.m. I couldn't tell. Although on one of the scenes, there was a dialogue by the chief's wife asking her maid or her servant to go inform her husband that his son is going to be arriving in the morning the following day. So I knew that when Harry arrived the following day, you know, no matter how bright the sun was, it must have been just a sunny morning. So I assumed that following day was in the morning. The story itself was good. The reason I gave the story good and not excellent is because the story is a taboo. You know, I'm just saying, you know, I gotta, hey, you know, my aunt could be listening to this, my mother could be listening to this, I don't want nothing to come up, so, y'all got it good on that one.
Excuse me, Rebecca. You know what? I found it boring.
You found it boring?
Yes. But what I found boring about the movie is all about parking. He was always giving excuse. I mean, what's that his name? The lead actor that the husband of Frank? Harry, yes, played by Frank Artus, yeah.
Artus.
Yeah. Now, he's a very good actor. That was what saved the movie anyway, because
right.
the two, Tonton Dike and Frank Artus, are just excellent actors. But never mind, putting them in that story, that was what saved the storyline. You see, right. Because number one, he had to park to go to a meeting, and again, Tonton Dike will come in again to see him parking again. There was all about parking, and again, when there's transition to something, Tonton Dike was with the girlfriend talking about the husband, and again, it was slow. I was waiting for some action, something to find to some twist. So, Tonton Dike, a very good actress, could have. According to the scriptwriter, you could have just sent a detective to know where the husband was going every time. But the storyline was very good.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think the message is excellent. The message is excellent. But
right. For me though, Cyprian, I actually didn't think of it as being boring. I did see it as being extremely simple. It was so easy to follow. But there is something that a celebrity I was interviewing a while back, David Rain, said. David Rain said, at this particular point in Nollywood, we're not at the point where we're telling Shakespeare's stories. We're still at the point where we're trying to speak correct English and have the other person who's actually watching the movie understand what the heck they just saw, you know? So it really is true. I really think we have to do. You're completely right. But the reality of the fact is, and it's so sad to say when I say women are being oppressed, is that not every single woman who gets the intuition that their husband might be cheating on them would actually have the gumption or the boldness to actually investigate. The reality of what's happening with that gentleman is what really happens in households. Women are just look at her friend. Look at what her friend is telling her. In that movie, her friend is saying, oh, you just have to really, really pray. One day, God is going to touch his heart, and he's going to change his mind from cheating. I was like, I should slap that girl right now. No, she didn't tell her friend that. No. He's not even cheating with a woman. What if the husband had AIDS? What if the husband had contacted HIV? You're going to hope and pray that you do not ruin your life? Are you kidding me? That was why I really, really appreciated that movie talked about condoms being in the pocket of that gentleman. Condoms being in the pocket of Harry. When he's doing what he's doing, he at least loves his family enough, loves himself enough to want to protect his own life while he's being promiscuous outside of his marriage. You see what I mean? The story itself is fantastic. It really is a story that needs to be told. I don't care how simple, but to be told over and over again in different ways. So the message is clear across that there are gay people in Nigeria, and it's just undercover. In fact, there's a governor that I knew about in Nigeria, which ended in an extremely tragic death of my friend, who was gay and married at one point. The press found out he was gay. The wife divorced him. He went on and remarried and did it. Do you see what I mean? But it's done behind closed doors. It's done behind the press. It happens. It really happens, and that is what this story really put to the forefront. What I really liked about the end was that, if you got a chance to watch part 3, if you haven't watched part 3, Cyprian, I encourage you to watch it, because in the end, the last 3 or 4 scenes before part 3 completely ends, the houseboy, first of all, I don't want to tell, it's already online, guys. Okay, I'm sorry we're telling you the entire movie while we're talking, which is something that I don't want to do because I want you to go watch it. But there is a particular scene at the end. First of all, it just the way the house boy chose to sleep with Harry. Why? The reason why Dave, the houseboy, decided to consent to Harry, you guys have got to watch the movie to find out. And it's just so sad that something like that still happens in Nigeria till today. Not just to men, but also to women. In this particular case, it's because he's gay. But what about the times when guys manipulate young girls into doing these same things based on this idea? You guys have to watch it to find that out. It is just so sad, and I'm just, it's a story that needed to be told. It really was a story that needed to be told. But 4 scenes before the end of the movie, Dave goes to a pastor. Dave goes to church and gets the phone number of the pastor, saying there are some things that has been bothering him that he really needs some prayer on. And then at the end, Harry goes to Dave's apartment, and Dave actually physically kicks him out, like they were breaking up. But they didn't really say they were breaking up. He just kicked him out. So I really love the hanging at the end, where it leaves the imagination of the person watching the film to think, okay, so what happened? Did Dave get saved? Did he repent? Or did he, okay, so did Dave repent, or did he stay in the relationship on the down low? Did Harry's sister ever tell his parents? Because there was a point where Harry's sister found out. So did Harry's sister ever tell his parents? Did Dave's girlfriend ever find out? Because Dave also had a girlfriend. Did she ever find out? There were so many unanswered questions in part 3. So I encourage you, Cyprian, you have to watch that film. But I really, really loved it. Makeup was excellent. I saw a makeup on Sonso Dike that I didn't think we were able to do in Nigeria. She looked fabulous in some of those scenes. Wardrobe match. They had a great clothing in the film. It actually matched the scenes. I really, really appreciated that because that really helped to tell the story and it eliminated distractions, which there were some scenes that you just could not be distracted by the way someone looked or what they were wearing. So that really helped. I really appreciated that they did that. So, on my little review, Cyprian,
yes,
I did a Best Male Actor Performance. I get to give the Best Male Actor Performance an award on the radio.
Yeah, 2.
And the award goes to Frank Artus and Daniel K. Daniel, his partner in the film. Not in real life. Frank is not gay, Daniel is not gay. But I'm just saying, in this movie, I totally believed them. It was such an emotional film, and I completely believed that they were gay for this movie, which was like, by the way, I was afraid the whole time I was watching it. I was like, I can't believe you guys are doing this. Is this real? Because I couldn't believe it. I could not believe we have this in Nigeria. Get out of here. Wow. Yeah, so Frank Artus displayed excellent facial expressions through, though there were no nudity or physical contact between the two characters, the characters were still very believable. So next, I have Female Best Performance. And the award goes to...
Tonton DK.
Of course!
Oh, yeah.
Tonton DK.
Oh, yes, she was so good.
Vivian Anchor.
Yeah, she was so
Yes.
good. She was so good in
Yes,
that.
yes.
In her part.
And Vivian Anchor, Vivian Anchor, who played Frank's mother, she has actually been acting for quite some time.
Okay.
She's been acting since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
The same time Rita Dominic started or whatever. And, she played the mother so well. She did such a great job. I believed her as a mom. When she was excited, I was excited with her. When she was sad, I was sad with her. She really just brought that motherly emotion out, which is like really hard sometimes for people to play. And she looked the part. She looked like someone who could be Frank Artus' mother, And of course, Frank's sister, thank God, Frank's sister actually looked like someone who could be his sister. But I didn't really like the relationship between Frank's sister, Harry and his sister. I really didn't like it. I felt like they were too, it wasn't natural. It was more like a personal relationship. It felt to me like boyfriend and girlfriend than brother and sister. So I did see that. So Tonton DK, with that question, is an excellent actress, fantastic facial expression, and knows when to turn it on and turn it off. She sure did, because there were times when she needed to be an in-law to Harry's sister. She just went right into that. She just went right into that role, was really Harry's sister, an in-law to Harry's sister, She gave a genuine smile at the right time and got aggressive or angry at the right time. I never noticed Vivian Anchor's acting, but I did in this film. She played her role as a mother very well. She was very believable. Yeah. So right now.
So grading the film.
Yeah.
What will be your general grade then? Your.
Excellent question. Well, the underlying message in the story is definitely use protection always. Period.
That's number one.
Whatever. In whatever sexual ventures you're thinking about, use protection always. In the film, Lizzie found condoms in Harry's pocket. So, and also, there are gay people in Africa who do it on the down low. That's the official message to the film. Overall, I would give it 3.5 stars out of 4 stars. I'll give it 3.5 stars. And the reason why I'm giving it 3.5 stars is because I understood the story from beginning to end, and it is such a huge taboo. And they played it really well. They were able to tell the story without any nudity, without really going into deep into the sexual aspect of being gay, but they talked more about the everyday living of a gay person in Africa.
So for me, I succeeded in watching the part 1 of the movie. So I'm gonna give that just 1 star.
1 star, because why? It's not your fault you didn't watch all 3. Why would you like?
Yeah,
hate on the whole movie?
because I got the message right away. Because in the first time when the scene opened, I didn't know
Right.
what the story was all about, because there was one scene that shouldn't have come in at all. At the same time, it was like you said, it was in one location. What's the message trying to give to young people? I mean, the moral aspect of the message to young people that might be watching that, because
Right.
that's another problem. But for me anyway, it
But
just
I don't think that the movie is set up for young people, though. It's just the entire situation.
oh yeah,
itself
it was rating plus 18, right?
plus 18.
And
yeah,
there was no
it's not
nakedness.
for young children at all.
Yeah, there was no nakedness anyway.
Right.
Okay. So Rebecca, how do we end up this review? I'm very sorry. Next time I'll be able to watch the whole. I think it was too long. I think we have to choose one, only part 1.
But most of the time with Nigerian or African movies, you have to watch part 1, part 2, and part 3.
Yes,
I've never seen, unless maybe if it's like a European-made film, not a true Nollywood movie. A true Nollywood movie would be part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yes, but Last Flight to Abuja was just the movie. There was no part 1. There was no part 2.
I know. Last Flight to Abuja was not made by a Nollywood director.
Oh,
He's Nollywood, but he's like European Nollywood.
Obi Monyei.
Where does Obi Monyei live?
In London, in England.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's an extension of authentic Nollywood. Authentic Nollywood is part 1, part 2, and part 3. European Nollywood is normally just one film.
Come on, Rebecca. Come on, Rebecca. How are you going to?
It's true.
Define.
You do your own statistical analysis.
Okay. Define authentic Nollywood for us.
Authentic Nollywood is Nollywood movies, filmed, shot, directed, produced in Africa solely or mainly for the African audience in Africa. They tell African stories. If you compare the movie Under Project to a movie that you would see in America that's talking about the same subject, that movie would not hit home to any major degree to someone in America or someone in France, because we already accept being gay. You don't have to do that. Unless it's just a circumstance where your family is like very religious and they don't accept gays, and you just don't want to defy your parents, then you might marry a woman. But the story itself will be told so differently. It'll be more juicy, more meaty, because we comprehend better. We already are used to that type of environment. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But an extension of Nollywood is movies who are still classified as Nollywood, but they tell more in-depth stories in that an European audience will understand or connect with, or would identify with. Mostly those stories will be stories about immigration. Those stories will be stories about love, with cultural differences, with some type of European influence. Someone who is in love with a Nigerian who is in love with a Mexican.
Yeah.
Who the Mexican parent is racist against black people.
Okay.
Because they're both competing for the same job. Something like that. You see what I mean? This type of story, someone in Nigeria would understand it, but it wouldn't be at the level that they can really grasp, because they're looking for work.
Yeah, but
we have work here. You see what I mean?
Yeah, this movie Under Project, what do you mean is for the local market?
It's for the local market. And for people, it's for the local, mainly, first of all.
Yeah.
This movie is that one movie that is, first, there is no nudity. There is no profanity.
No.
That same movie in the U.S. will not be called rated 18, number one. That's how you know it's authentic Africa. The idea within the story, the message within the story in itself is rated 18 in Africa.
Yeah.
Not the content of the film.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really what I mean by authentic African Nollywood and the extension of Nollywood. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the movie you just heard us review is called On the Project. I gave this movie a 3.5 star, and Cyprian Josson gave the movie 1 star, and his reason is because he only saw part 1, and he wasn't motivated to see part 2 or part 3. But that's his European side speaking. That's what I have to say about it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, to get full detailed review, go to www.nollywoodradiofrance.com. And of course, you're going to see a blog post about this movie review on www.nollywoodspotlight.com. Thank you all so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye. You'll be listening to Nollywood Radio France. Thanks for listening.